In a perfect world, right? That's going to be the theme of the show. In a perfect world, what do the Giants look like to you next year?
You- In a perfect world,
Mm-hmm.
if
In a
everything
perfect
works
sports
out,
world, yeah.
oh man, then I would just reiterate what you said. I can say that they're gonna win 10, 11 games, and the reason I
Did I
say
say
that is
11
because
games?
you said about 10,
That's
pushing
on the
it.
high side. I said between 7 and 10.
You definitely didn't say 7, bro.
Yeah, I definitely did. I said
Um,
between 7 and 10. Uh, I said 7 and 10.
you was really hyping that 10
I'm
though. You
still
know what I
hyped, but I definitely didn't say.
mean?
I didn't say beyond 10. That's a fact. I definitely didn't
No,
say
but
that.
let's keep it a buck. In a perfect world, we ran down the schedule and we could do it again. But in a perfect world, now we have Dable calling the plays. Let's see what Daniel Jones comes back looking like, because now, they said he's already ready. Now they got, they already know that this is his year. If he doesn't do what he needs to do this year, he's gonna lose his job. And I'm hoping that in a perfect world, he comes out straight balling. We got Malik Neighbors, we got Jalen Hyatt, we got Banks, we got what I mean, we got Thibodeau, we got Singletary, we lost Saquon, what up, whatever, But in a perfect world, I could see them winning 11 games. Let's keep it a buck. A lot of the games that we did lose last year, we were still in the running. Like we lost a bunch of games by a field goal or one touchdown, and we couldn't even really score. And we had quarterbacks that really couldn't do much, but we still always was in every game, and it's almost like that Giants feeling, I mean that Knicks feeling, like that Knicks thing, anything might happen. Anything and any time might always happen. And this Giant team could do it for you. And I feel like, like that's where we're heading. And we need it to happen. Like the Giants have been bad for some time. They've been into the playoffs, twice in the last like 6 years or some shit like that. Yo, we need something to happen already. I need to see a 10, 11, a double digit Giant team, because we haven't had it in some time. And what I mean? You got me on the high road,
I,
man.
I,
I
I
I,
agree.
I,
I
I
agree.
want to see it. I want to see it happen.
I'm a glass half full guy. So we're gonna run down the schedule in a little bit. But I tend to agree with you, man. I'm optimistic. I'm cautious. Let me say this. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I am optimistic. What do we win? How many games we win last year? 6? What did we
I
win
think it
last year?
was. I think it was.
6,
Yeah, I
7?
think. I think. I think. Yeah, I think it was 6 or 7. Yeah.
All right. So let's 6 games. I'll look it up in a second, but let's say 6 games. With all the moves we made this off season, I'm not saying Super Bowl or bust, but I'm saying
Yeah, they won
and
6. They
we
were 6 and 11.
they 6 and 11. Get we can't get 3 more wins on the low side. 4 to 5 more on the high side. That's a lot to ask to go from 6 to 11. But I still think it's doable, man. I think and we're gonna get in depth in a minute, but I think within this offense, you're gonna see some major improvements. Couple of reasons. One, Brian Dable now calling the plays, right? We've been waiting for
Mhm.
this. He's taking over the thing from Mike Kafka. They said that he was kind of meddling in it last year. You know what I'm saying? They had their little issues, right?
Yeah.
But this year he's gonna call the plays. You saw what he did when he called the plays up in Buffalo. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Isaiah McKenzie, Gabe Davis. They had, it was an electric offense. I think it hasn't been the same since he's left there. To be totally honest, I know personnel
I
has
agree.
changed. You know what I mean? I get all that, and him and Dable left, but that's kind of what he does. He's supposedly a quarterback whisperer. Well, do me a favor, whisper into the ears of Daniel Jones, my brother, because we need him to get busy. You feel what I'm saying? Second of all, so I like that, and I'm intrigued to see where that goes. If it is what we think it is, right? Uh, then that's a plus, right? Now you got Shane Bowen replaces Wink Martindale. Everyone knows about the tumultuous and high tense relationship with Dable. It's well documented, and we're going to talk about Hard Knock Life in a few. You know what I'm saying? I wonder if we're going to see any of that because it was some some filming from last season, but we all know what happened with Dable and Wink. We're not going to get into that. You know what I'm saying? But Shane Bowen, a guy I like, comes over from the Titans. Very different style than Wink. Wink is a no risk it, no biscuit. He's the riverboat Ron on defense. You know what I'm saying? bring the house in for blitzes, leave the corners on islands, bring, you know what I mean, bring the kitchen sink and all that. So that's going to be different. That put a lot of pressure on Deonte Banks. We're going to see a lot more zone scheming this year, I would think. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to have Deonte Banks, a rookie corner on the island. We losing Adoree Jackson. We bring in a couple other guys. We'll get to the cornerback room in a minute. That's another thing. I like Shane Boy. Don't get me wrong. I like Wink. I like that aggressive style. I like going after the QB. His very complex scheme, Wink ran. But I'm not mad at Shane Bowen. We'll see. With this personnel, I think it might work. Mike Kafka, offensive coordinator, bland at times, right? Vanilla, you know what I'm saying? I think that's part of the reason why Dable decided to call the plays. Can't all be mad at Mike Kafka. He didn't have the big time playmakers on offense. You know what I'm saying? Daniel Jones still hasn't proven to us. He had a subpar year 2 years ago, and everyone jumped out the window, including me. I think he had like 15 touchdowns, and I forget whatever. I got to look it up, whatever the yardage was. He had 700 yards in the ground. Everyone's calling up Vanilla Vic, and everyone's crowning him a top 10 QB in the NFC this year, including me. I'm not even going to sit here and cap. You feel what I'm saying? Including me. Yeah. He got me. Greg Jennings was like, he's the top 5 quarterback in the NFC. And I was on board with that because we're so thirsty to win and we're so thirsty for hype. And sometimes we attach hyperbole to certain players because of our fandom. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to be objective when you're a fan. That's the beauty of this shit. You know what I'm saying? But there's some objectivity in what we do. So that's as far as we're talking about Brian Dable. Daniel Jones, right? Can this be the last year of the Daniel Jones? Well, this is the last year of the Daniel Jones evaluation. We know what the contract looks like. We know how the contract is structured, right? So we know that they have an out. The quagmire we're going to be in is, and this is, are we going to be bad enough to get a new QB, right, in next year's draft? We can't be like middle of the road and get a really good QB as you've seen this year. Are we going to be that bad, or are we going to be middle of the road? And if we're middle of the road, that's fine. We'll have to figure something out in free agency, which I don't know, maybe a Dak Prescott. I doubt that. I think the Cowboys are going to take care of him. We'll look at the quarterback free agent landscape. But then are we going to be, if we're really good, that's a good problem to have. Yeah. But then there's that fool's gold. Does Daniel Jones throw for 24 touchdowns and 9 interceptions and gives you 600 to 700 yards on the ground, and we win 12 games? Are we signing him? I mean, those are still pedestrian numbers for a quarterback. So we don't know. Now, you mentioned Malik Neighbors.